Already got people on here. So welcome back to Rise Up in Real Estate. Probably halfway through this conversation, you're going to say, rise up in what? Because we might not talk about real estate for a minute. We're going to talk about some other stuff. But welcome back, Rise Up Nation. We're glad that you're here. Again, real quickly, this will be a live stream for the next 45 minutes or an hour. You are welcome to make comments. If you're watching, I see a bunch of you already on here. You're watching on one of the platforms, you can shoot us questions. Let us know where you're coming from and what you want to know about. And I'll just pop it up here just like this. Kerry Collins, what is the S2X? I don't know what all that means, Kerry Collins, but I'll ask you that out privately after the call. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hope there's other people in the office listening with you. So today we'll do a live stream discussion for that amount of time. And then we turn this into the podcast that'll go out next Monday on all of the platforms. Fortunately, especially last week with the nonsense that we had for the first 10 minutes of the call with my echo, it is edited. So if any of these bozos say anything goofy while we're on the call today, it'll just be there for your pleasure. But I'll edit it out by next Monday. So I want to welcome our three guests today to the discussion. We're almost done with season 7, which is crazy. This is the 12th episode in season 7. We will have a few more. We got Ed Bacchino next week. He's going to be talking about business development. Ashley, I think that'll be an interesting conversation to get another perspective on that, especially Ed's perspective with all the classes he's been teaching. He's going to be coming back, the guy from Revolution Mortgage. So join us then. And then we've got maybe 2 more episodes, and then it's holiday break. So what I want to do is introduce my esteemed panel of judges. I feel like Dances with the Stars. And let them talk a minute. I want to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving, like what you guys did. And you notice a little turkey down on the bottom on my screen. He's right by TJ's face. But TJ, you're the special guest today. Introduce yourself and tell us what you did for Thanksgiving. Anything fun?
Well, my Thanksgivings are always entertaining because I have my entire family here in Myrtle Beach. Brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, great nieces, my parents. But it's TJ O'Brien from the Myrtle Beach, Carolina Forest office. And we just get together every year. And I think we're the classic American family, man. It's like we are the stereotype that you hear about, make fun of. My mother cooks, a different meal for every member of the family. That's one thing, which she puts out, 37 appetizers and then gets very upset when we don't eat the individual meal that she made for us. So that'll never change. It is what it is. I got to accept it. I got to adapt a little bit, but it's really great. I mean, count my blessings. Everybody's here.
So your mom does all the cooking?
All of it.
Mr. O'Brien doesn't cook one thing. He sits there watching a little bit of football. What time do y'all eat?
We eat. We have appetizers at 3. We have dinner at 4. We're all miserable by 5, and that's pretty much what happens.
Oh, that's great. Well, I miss Miss Lori O'Brien. She was for those of you that don't know, we're in coastal North and South Carolina. That's where we're based. And Lori O'Brien, I'm honored to know her. It's TJ's mom. She was a real estate legend in our market. Honestly, before she retired, she was one of the best of the best. She was also a very good. Wasn't she a school teacher before that?
She had a 25-year teaching career and then decided to get out of teaching and then had a follow-up 25-year real estate career. So over a 50-year span, school teacher turned realtor, which is not an uncommon thing. A lot of realtors that were teachers prior, and they usually make really good real estate agents as well. So
remarkable. Yeah, she's a wonderful lady. I'm sure she's very visible on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. If you want to find Miss Lori O'Brien, go try to find that. That's good. Thanks for sharing that, TJ. Sue O'Shea, glad to have you. I'm excited that you're here down in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Sue, maybe you can throw in the chat, and Carrie too. Like, what were your favorite Thanksgiving dishes? Ashley, tell us a little bit about the Lamborn holiday magic that happens on Thanksgiving Day. How does it go for you?
Oh, it's some magic. All right, Ted. So mine is kind of the opposite of TJ's, just really small family gathering because everybody's kind of scattered everywhere. So my mom lives here locally. My brother lives here locally. And I finally convinced my mom that we should stop cooking a meal for 2 or 3 of us about 4 or 5 years ago. And we have landed on going to the restaurant at Brook Green Gardens. They do a fantastic Thanksgiving meal. It's beautiful. We normally can get a few steps in after stuffing ourselves and walking around and visiting Brook Green, which is just beautiful over there. So, we don't have the leftover turkey sandwiches, but we have a day with no dishes and prep and all the things for just 3 people to sit down. So it's perfect for us.
Yeah, I love that. And you sent me a picture when you guys were there. That if you don't know what Brook Green Gardens is, and actually we get to go Saturday night for Night of 1,000 Candles. I'm going to go twice this year. I cannot wait. But you guys that don't know about Brook Green Gardens, look it up online, or as my kids say now, search it up. They call it search it up. Dad, search it up. Go look Brook Green Gardens up. It's the largest outdoor sculpture exhibit in the United States, actually. The history of it's very cool. But you sent a beautiful picture of some of those giant oak trees. It was a beautiful day on Thursday. Yep. You ate at 3:00 too, right?
Yeah, and normally we do an earlier, but when we got our reservation, the earlier time slots weren't available, so we ate at 3, and that was perfect.
That's great. I'm curious to know too, the people that are watching, if you have the courage to throw your favorite dish on there, and if not, tell me if you believe that. Should you stretch your stomach before the Thanksgiving meal, like eat a big breakfast too, or should you just let it go? I don't know how you do it. Donna Lee, hi. We're so glad to see you. And she agrees. Donna is a legend also, and she's agreeing that there's another legend, Lori O'Brien. So, Lawton, talk to me about your welcome back to the show. Your hair's looking stellar. Man, you look like a movie star. Like you got a little bit of a shadow. Man, I'm just telling you. You're probably going to get some comments on that. You're looking good. So, tell me about Thanksgiving for you. How did it go? Was this your second Thanksgiving as a married man? How'd y'all do?
Yep. Second, we stayed here. Grandparents came to town. Aunt came to town. I think we ate about 1:30. Watched some football. Good question I have, though, for anyone to answer. So if you eat it earlier, how long do you have to wait before you take out the leftovers and do it again?
Yes.
I'm thinking like, I was going to say 3. So 4 is probably the skinnier version of 3, but like.
Skinnier version.
It's interesting that you bring that up because we do in all 8 of our offices, we have a Thanksgiving meal, and I usually pick up the turkeys. This year, Tracy Huffman and Ashley did some of it because I was gone, but we pick up the turkey. Every time I pick it up, he goes, just remember, it's good for 4 hours. And the guy that cooks the turkey that runs a restaurant tells me it's good for 4 hours. Look, and guess what? Trey White agrees. If Trey White said it, it must be true. Trey, glad you're here. 4 hours, but I don't know if I'd leave it in the chafing dishes for 4 hours with no heat on it. But you do you, man. You do you. Sue O'Shea says, I was at my daughter's house outside of Boston. Favorite cranberry sauce. Show of hands. Who likes cranberry sauce? I'm kind of mixed on that jelly. I mean, it depends. You like the jelly? Oh, wait. From fresh cranberries I bought in Nantucket 2 days before. Oh, that makes it a little bit different, doesn't it, TJ? That's incredible. I was going to say that jelly-looking stuff, like I feel like I need to spread it on some bread or throw it in the trash or something. But, yeah, Sue says fresh. I get you. Carrie, let's see what Carrie Collins says. Best Thanksgiving dish is mac and cheese. Zero need to stretch my stomach. Already got plenty of room. Carrie coming to us live from Somerville with honesty. I love this. This chat is so much fun. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Tracy, for picking up the turkeys. Tracy says sausage balls for breakfast. Oh, my favorite. 1 p.m. meal, cheesy potatoes with breakfast and lunch and dinner. It sounds like the Huffman house just eats. And Tracy, you had all your kids together, right? And you guys did that thing. Let's be honest. We did the same thing. Like we usually host at our house, and there's normally about 40 people. And I don't know, in Horry County, I think most people are related. I mean, let's just be honest. Like it's not all family, but I think it is. Like depending on how far out the branches you look on the family tree, a lot of people are related. But we had a lot of people. We do 3 turkeys. I bake one, and then Joey Summers, who's one of our friends, he does a smoked one and a fried one. So we have 3 20-pound turkeys. And when it is over, there are bones. It looks like it's just carcasses in my kitchen. That's basically it left over. Everybody brings a side. We do the turkeys. They bring sides, and it's incredible. My favorite dish is anything on the table that's not moving on its own. I'll leave it at that. I'll eat anything. Really, I love it all. Lawton doesn't even understand what I just said. Love that. Tracy had everybody at her house. That's awesome, Tracy. Glad you had a good thing. Did you have it at your place? You had it here in Myrtle Beach, I'm assuming. So Thanksgiving. What's the thing? Well, one thing you're most thankful for, the 4 of us on the call, and you can throw that in the chat too if you want to. We are going to get to a topic in a minute, but I think this is interesting. What are you most thankful for, TJ?
I think for me, it's, it is nice that I don't have to travel. Everybody's here. Getting to spend every holiday with my parents who are healthy. I have 2 beautiful boys, and I have some nieces and nephews locally that are at that age where we can sit around and really have great conversations. And now I have 2 great nieces. So it's just fun to be, when I looked around the room, amidst all the craziness, it's pretty cool to see all of that. So. Yeah.
And that I'm you do such a good job. The way that you navigate your family commitments, I really appreciate that about you. I'm close to you, so I've seen as you've grown up with your boys and how much of a priority they are for you and your mom and dad and your sister. I mean, all the people, just how you're a lot like my wife. Like she just prioritizes everyone. And I think that's unique about all 3 of you on this call. You put everybody else before yourself. So that's a very good word, TJ, and I think very pertinent for you. Sue says she's most, I think we would all agree with that, right? That was a good word, Sue. I'm so glad you're here, Sue, by the way, not just here on this call, but in this market. The market is so much better with you here. You're such a classy professional. I appreciate that. Keith McGurk, look at here. I hope some of those family members don't suffer with the Browns the way that you have, TJ. My condolences, brother. Listen, Shadur Sanders 1-1. I mean, he's
we got a long way to go.
Most sacks, though. This guy's getting ready to have the most sacks in NFL history, though. That's crazy. And they haven't won. They won 2 games, I think. But interesting. Keith, I'm glad you're here, man. Happy holidays to you and your family. Another good, authentic human being from the city. I love it. New York City. Love that. Sue says, thank you. Lawton, how about you? What are you most thankful for?
Probably just all the newness that me and my wife have gotten to experience. House, family, her family getting able to come to town for the first time, but just all the new stuff of being married and experiencing all of it together. It's been pretty fun.
Isn't this a wise young man? I'm speaking because I'm biased, but for you to recognize, I would say this about anybody, for you to recognize that at your age is impressive. And I love that about you, that you are taking a moment to establish your own traditions and enjoying it. And I love that because you will
the other answer is that Duke is undefeated in basketball right now. So that's the secondary, not as wise answer, but
I would like to say that is primarily because of one guy. I've seen them play a few times, and that one dude is really good. He had 39 points last night.
29,
crazy.
Yeah,
29 out of 70 or something like that. Pretty good. Ashley Lamborn, what are you most thankful for, my friend?
Oh, 100% family, and families can sometimes be complicated, and we drive each other crazy. But I have a family that shows up for each other, and so I don't take that for granted. And I appreciate that I have that, and that everybody just is coasting along right now in like a good place, to be thankful that there's not some people have so many obstacles that they're overcoming or tough situations that they're living through. And I'm just really, really thankful that right now my family's healthy and everybody is doing well, and that I have that.
Yeah, that's good. I would agree with. I'm just thankful for all of it. Like I spend so much time. I don't know why this isn't true about me, but I just feel like I don't deserve any of it, and I've got it so great, And I'm thankful for health, for friends, for family, for just the country that we live in, the food that we get to eat, the freedom we experience, all that stuff. So what a great time of year to spend a minute thinking about that. I would challenge all of us to do that every day. Like, how fun would it be if we had this Thanksgiving? Maybe I'll put this Thanksgiving logo up all year on our new turkey friend. Maybe Tom will be around all the time. And TJ doesn't stand for Tom, does it? Thomas, maybe TJ.
Thomas James.
Nice. So he's in the right square on my screen then. Yeah. So let's talk about a topic. We're going to talk about two topics today. The first one, I want to ask those of you that are not sports fans to stick with me on this, because last week I was inspired to have this conversation, and I'm going to set it up, Ashley, for you and for those of you that don't follow sports too closely, and even those of you that do. I want to say, first of all, that I'm going to get some of the facts wrong. I want you to know that on this show, this is strictly our opinion, our view, and what that means is we are going to make comments and statements based on the information that we know, which is dangerous because we don't know all the information. We don't know all the players. We don't know all the parts of it, but we're just going to talk. I'm going to ask some questions as we get going and just have a conversation, because I feel like this issue that happened in college sports this past week is a good one for us to talk about. And it relates to being a human being, I think, and that's what this show is about. So a lot of you know that this week, or a lot of you don't know, Lane Kiffin. Maybe the people listening on here can tell me if you've heard of this guy or not, if you're familiar with it or not. If you want to throw your ideas out there, I'd love it. I'll throw as many of them as I can on the screen. Lane Kiffin is a very well-known college football coach, very controversial figure, like a lot of leaders are. He just leads the way Lane leads, and he is his own. I call it his own flavor of ice cream. Baskin-Robbins has 31 flavors for a reason. There were 31 days in the month, and they thought, if I have 31 flavors, I'm going to hit everybody once a month, and that's what I'm going to do. He's his own flavor of ice cream. Not everybody likes him, but some people that like that ice cream love this guy. So he's a coach at a major university who just won enough games this year, won more games than they've ever won in the history of their 131-year program. Major college football. They won 11 games in the regular season. They're going to the college football playoffs, and almost in the dark of night, which is a 2-week process in the media, but overnight, basically, he decides he is going to go take another head coaching job. And he's not going to – he left on an airplane, like packed his stuff and left on an airplane to go to, ironically, Ole Miss is where he was coaching. He went to LSU, which is Ole Miss's most hated rival. Okay, so he says, Sue O'Shea, I appreciate that. Never heard of him. I love that. Neither is Ashley. So
me neither, Sue. Me neither.
So he makes this controversial move. He says, I'm gonna leave this program I've been at for 6 years. He's turned it around 100%. They're going to go to the playoffs for the first time. They have a really good chance of winning a couple of games in the playoffs, maybe a national championship. Who knows? But he had to make a hard decision at like the 12th hour, because LSU said, we need a decision. And he decided, and he went to his athletic director and said, I'd love to coach my guys through the rest of the season. And the athletic director said, I'm sure he said a lot of things, but he said, basically, are you crazy? You announced you're going to go coach at our rival, and I'm going to let you for 30 days stay with these guys. Not going to happen. So he told him to pack his toys. He packed his toys and flew to LSU with a whole bunch of his offensive staff, who are also leaving Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin now is the head coach at LSU. There's a lot of controversy, a lot of questions. Why did he do it? What did he do it for? What's good about it? But what I want to talk about today is, and that's 30,000-foot view. Ashley, do you have any questions about it so far? Or Sue, those of you that have never heard, any questions?
Football, right? We're on football?
Yeah.
All right.
Halftime. There is a halftime in this one.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I promise you, by the time we finish talking today, you're going to learn something from a football story. Watch this happen. Watch. Any other questions? You guys have any things you want to add, Lawton or TJ, just to the general story that I might have forgotten that's major?
No, I think you hit it. I think that's the overall theme of what did happen.
Okay, Stu. Yeah, Sue says, okay, here's a good one. Carrie says, Lane claimed that the players wanted to stay and coach. Current players for Ole Miss came out and said that was not a true statement. There's controversy. And can't you feel it? I mean, those of the, even Sue and Ashley who don't, and Sue, I appreciate you very much. I'm all caught up. Even those who don't know, you can see how controversial this is. And I know you guys know me. Like, where did my mind go? My mind went to what we do and how this coach, even though this coach is under contract, like he's got to break this contract. He's essentially independent contractor because he can do what he wants to do. He's proven it. He just basically says that contract, I'm gonna whatever I got to give up, I'm gonna give up, and I'm gonna go to where the grass is greener, in his opinion, right? He thinks he has a better chance of winning a national championship there. He thinks there's clearly more money in the program there at this current time. He feels like he has more ability to recruit there. So those are all his beliefs, which is fine. But a couple of things I wanted to discuss with us. Let's talk first about loyalty. Like, did he make just in the brief what I've told you, did he make the right decision or not? Let's just talk about that for a minute. How could he have done it differently? And I haven't talked about all the details. I don't even know all the details. I don't know half of them even. But based on what you know, was that a good decision or a bad decision?
I mean, I'll take that. I mean, I think I think the loyalty of whether it's the workplace or college football or whatever. I mean, I think that I'm not a fan of, for example, the transfer portal, but in this case, I am, because if I chose Ole Miss because of, if I'm good enough to play at Ole Miss, I was probably good enough to play at a lot of major Division I colleges, and something about Lane Kiffin and the total package of that and Ole Miss, like, we're going to build a program, we're going to do this, we're going to win, which he did. But if I'm a freshman coming in, and all of a sudden you're telling me that everything you said in the recruiting thing is basically, to me, is like just went by the wayside. You're now going to what you think is a better program. You told me this was the best program. And of course we don't know all the details, but I just feel like at the end of the day, and it's today's sports, so it is what it is. I mean, we can obviously not like it, but LSU had every right to do what they did. I don't think they broke any rules because it was during that period, and they offered him an incredible amount of money, and they probably do have more ability to recruit, pay, do whatever they can do at LSU. But at the end of the day, I just don't understand how these guys make a lot of money. I don't know what his contract was at Ole Miss, but I'm sure it wasn't light, and you got kids that like show up every day, do what they do, bust their tail, listen to their coach, buy into the program, and then all of a sudden you're telling me you're out. It's just there's a tough debate there between like opportunity and loyalty. It's a real tough debate. I just think that at the end of the day, and I was reading this morning that the college football committee or whoever makes all those decisions is not going to penalize Ole Miss, thankfully, because they could have. And then I think about it as a parent who does have a son that plays college sports, not at that level, but if they would have fallen out after those kids give every ounce of everything, because playing college football today at that level is a full-time job. School's almost like secondary, right? And it's the kids that would get hurt. So who's going to coach the team now? And clearly Lane Kiffin is a step above somebody that might step in and has no experience in what is the most important part of the year. I think personally, he should have stayed. And if LSU wasn't there, it wasn't there. If LSU had to move on another coach, but I don't know. I just think at the end of the day, those kids are the ones that are getting hurt the most. The fans, everything about it, but the kids on the team who have devoted every ounce of energy to winning this year and bringing the program up.
Yeah, and he could have. Let me be clear that he actually, when he was offered the job from LSU, he did go to the athletic director and beg, from what I understand, please let me coach my guys to the end of this. And the athletic director just wasn't on board with it. And I think Lane had to know going in that he was going to hear no. It's just they're going to the rival. It's almost like when an employee says, I'll give you 2 weeks notice. And you're like, I'm not going to let you read the playbook anymore for 2 more weeks, right? And take it somewhere else. But I think some argument is he could have waited until after he could have said LSU, hey, let's wait till after the playoffs. Let's talk about this job. If you want me that much, just wait on me. And he didn't do that. And that was a big risk for him. He could have lost it altogether because they might have gone to Coach B and he might have lost that altogether. Ashley, I want you to comment before we get too much in the weeds. What do you think of this? Just high level. Help Sue understand and help us understand.
Yeah, Sue and I are just actually texting on the side now. We've moved on to something else. So as I hear this, right, there's so many things that run through my mind on which person I would hope that I would be. But like TJ said, there was a big opportunity. And I don't know what the money looks like in this scenario, but maybe that was something that changed how his family lived. And so there's a lot more probably to this whole equation for him. So I don't think, a couple things. I don't think either one is wrong. I think it's just different. So one person might choose that they have this unending loyalty to a team, and one person might choose that they have a huge loyalty to their family and what that can afford, as far as opportunities for their family. So they're different, but neither one is wrong and neither one is right necessarily. And then the what if game of if they had handled it differently, I still think that people would have found something to criticize. So you guys were just talking about, should he have done it after the season was over? If he did it when the season was over, we would still have people upset. And they would say he should have done it a different way. He should have done it a different way, or he strung us along and knew he was doing this all along. So I don't know that there is an answer to the timing. Like, I don't think that necessarily changes it in the long run, but that's my 2 cents.
No, I think that's excellent perspective. And it's actually ESPN should bring, now that I'm thinking about it, ESPN has been talking about this ad nauseum since it happened. And even 3 weeks before it happened. They need to bring some people on the show that don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak, like you, to give a general human reaction to it instead of so caught up in the sports part of it. And because what you said is very true. He's making the right choice for himself, which is, by the way, whether you want to admit it or not, it's what we all do. Right. And and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It does matter, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And they would have complained no matter when it happened. Right. They would have griped and complained. It's just now is the biggest stage, it seems like. Lawton, have you got anything to add before I run on to the next question? You know who Lane Kiffin is?
I think that's what Ashley said's pretty spot on. I think whether it's right or wrong is based upon where his motives and heart is. I think if his motive is to be the most popular guy at Ole Miss, he made the wrong decision. But if his motive was to make an extra zero on the end of what he makes, it would be hard to turn down a school that has a lot of money to give.
And can you imagine the theater of it, Ashley? This is how it went down, they say. And the guy that reported it all, I've followed for a lot of years, and I really believe what he said is true. He's not making this up. This is how it all happened. Like, we've all been waiting for him to make this decision. Everybody knew it was going to happen last Saturday. We just knew it. Well, Saturday came and went, and he was like, not going to do it that day. But Sunday, Lane Kiffin texts this reporter and says, I'm ready to give you my answer. So on a Sunday, a reporter, of course, was in the town where Ole Miss is because he knew it was getting ready to happen. He's at his hotel. He packs his stuff in a van. You should find the story on YouTube. It's pretty fascinating. He drives and basically breaks into the private runway at the airport. Lane Kiffin getting ready. He's in Ole Miss, getting ready to board an LSU private plane who's landed at Ole Miss Airport. He's going to get in that plane and fly to LSU. And before he does, he gets on this report and he says, I'm going to LSU. And this is what I've done. Athletic director won't let me stay. I'm going right now. And any of the coaches that want to come with me better be on a plane by the end of the day or they don't have a job. And so he leaves. This is ironic. He leaves this situation in Ole Miss where he has been revered for 6 years. He has been Jesus to this campus. This airport is surrounded by people, they said, waving at him with one finger. As he flies off to LSU, he lands in LSU to a huge crowd of people that now love him and are ready to embrace him, who, by the way, ironically, hated him the day before because it's their arch rival, hated his guts for the last 6 years. Now he's our guy. And the number one recruit in the country, as an added note, was at the airport when he landed, and Lane Kiffin pinned that deal as his first thing on the, as his first thing as an LSU coach. But such theater involved. I'm going to get Kerry's comments real quick. Let's see. Sadly, it's the landscape of college football. NIL players, coaches, administrators have zero loyalty. Players transfer year to year for money as well. I heard an interesting thing, Kerry, talking about, and I think I told you this too, TJ, about the transfer portal. Somebody asked Nick Saban, Alabama's historic coach, who also coached at LSU, ironically. They asked him who, when he was in the recruiting room, this is what I want to talk about in a minute. He's in the recruiting room with a kid, a prospect, and saying, hey, I want you to come play at Alabama when he was coaching. And the kid said, hey, coach, are you going to be there for my 4 years? Because the parents are in the room, and the parents are like, mom and dad are saying, are you going to be there for my guy for 4 years? Are you going to develop him for 4 years? Because that's what we're trusting you to do. We're willing to come there. And Nick Saban said he would answer the question this way. He would look at the boy, and the young man, and say, are you going to be with me for 4 years? Because these days there's no loyalty either way. Yeah. So if Lane Kiffin said, I'm going to stay at Ole Miss for my guys, probably half of them are going to pack their toys and go to another school at the end of the year anyway. So it's not like it used to be. The loyalty is different. Kerry also says transfer portals during the playoffs. Yes, this is what's being discussed is the dates of it. Paige Markland. Hey, Paige. I love Paige. She said Ashley just did the mic drop, which, Paige, I should probably take a picture of this because this is every episode. Ashley has the mic drop.
I just want it noted. That's 2 agreements with Ashley. I'm up 2 points on the sports podcast right now, if we're keeping track.
Yeah, and you know what that means is you're probably going to transfer at the end of the portal. So good comments. I want to just paint this picture for us, like in our setting. What if? Because here's the thing that sticks to me, Ashley. He signed a contract to coach at Ole Miss. And I don't know what the contract looks like, but he committed to coach Ole Miss for a period of X number of years. And I'm sure there have to be an out of the contract because every contract says if you don't do your part, then you can get out of it. If Keith, I love it. Keith says, I don't even care. It's a good life living South. He's going to brand his company branding. I love that. Company branding. We didn't even company brand Remax yet, but Keith got his word in. I love that. You're funny. Anyway, and so the contract has some outs, obviously, because he did it, but he committed to a period of time with that person or with that program. And this happens all the time. Like somebody said, there's going to be another coach that's going to leave during this period of time, a playoff coach probably, and certainly some players. But it's like contracts don't make a difference, really. And in our world, here's something pretty interesting to talk about. All of the agents in our company have an independent contractors agreement. Does anybody pay attention to that anymore? It's actually a year commitment or whatever the timeline is. But for our case, it's a year commitment to be with our company for a year from the day they sign it until the year's over. What does that mean? Why do people sign it? Do we enforce it if somebody decides they're going to leave? I mean, why would we? You know why we don't? Because what Ashley just said. Our mine and Mandy's opinion is if you feel like you can live the life you want to live somewhere else, we're not going to hold you to a contract. But you know what? Us allowing that actually does? It hurts the culture of the company. It hurts the plus that you're bringing to our environment if you're a positive person, which most of us are. By you leaving, it makes us worse. That's why we have a contract. That's why you commit, because when things get rough, and they weren't rough for Lane Kiffin, let's be honest, but when things get tough or when you get a better offer, the grass seems greener and you just want to pack your toys, it hurts the organization that you leave. Would you all agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't speak on that for a minute. Oh, there we go. 7-year contract, $91 million before bonuses. That's what we gave Sue to come to Remax Southern Shores. I don't know if you guys are interested in Remax Southern Shores, but you should be. Sue's the beneficiary of a great contract. I'm just kidding.
I love that Sue's Googling facts as we go.
Yes, me too. Search it up, Sue. Search it up, as Hazel would say. Search it up. Talk a little bit about that. Like, what? Let's relate this to our world. What if this afternoon Mandy said, or like when LeBron said this to Cleveland, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, to Miami. That LeBron's basketball in the NBA, Ashley, second greatest player of all time, or third according to most. He just left. What if Mandy did that today? And I mean, the opportunity was just better.
What if who did that today?
Mandy Fulford.
I'm punting this in the spirit of a sports podcast. I'm going to punt to somebody else to answer.
You don't have to answer that.
I can add to that. I mean, Mandy's done such a good. Both of you, or all the leaders here at the company have done such a good job of building what is just a really big company, a good culture, all the things that we always talk about. And if Mandy decided on a whim, or somebody came to her and said, I think I have something better for you. At the end of the day, just like Lane Kiffin, we all have choices that we can make. If the grass looks greener, whatever it might be. I mean, I think plenty of real estate companies offer bonuses to switch companies. And at the end of the day, if we decide to make that choice, you got to live with whatever that looks like. You may go over there because you see something shiny, and then it's just not exactly, what you had before. And those are just decisions that we all have to live with as adults and professionals, and if Mandy ever decided to do that, that's her prerogative, right? Like we just like Lane Kiffin, like nobody likes this decision except the people at LSU. I side with the AD at Ole Miss, because as a team leader, I have a small team, and I have had people here that have come to me that I've invested a lot of time in. And they said, I'm thinking that I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And I'm very quick in those moments to say, good luck. This has been fun. I wish you the best. Because once you have one foot out the door, I'm not going to try to sell you on coming back. So I take the position the AD took. Now, it does hurt those kids, so it's a little different in that world, I think. But, I'll give you a prime example, and I don't want to take up the whole call. My son, who plays college golf, called me a few weeks back and said, I'm entering the transfer portal. And it really caught me off guard. And I'm too old school in a sense of like, I had to know why, like, what is the problem? And to shorten the conversation without getting into those details, that I just said, it's not like he's Lane Kiffin, right? It's not like nobody's offering money. This is like, he's looking for hopefully to get bigger and better, and that's his goal. But I said at the end of the day, you could go to another program that looks like it's a wonderful place, and you're going to wish you were back at Coker. I mean, these are decisions, like you're becoming an adult very fast when you make a decision like this. And I support you, but you do not know how that's going to work out. So you got to put your head down and go. And so there's just so many facets to that, at the end of the day. You can't fault somebody for wanting a better, it's like these live golfers that, they took the money. That's a lot of money, And I've often said to myself, like, if that was my son, they came along and said, we'll give you $100 million to come join our tour. That doesn't come along very often in life. I mean, so it's a really tough decision, a conversation, and there's so many sides to it, as we've talked about today.
Interesting, Lawton. I don't know if anybody shared this with you or not. We get an annual report from Remax at the end of the year. It's like a scorecard from Remax that tells us the health. I think it's called a health report, the health of our brokerage, the health of Remax Southern Shores. And so it gives us all these statistics. Well, the last thing it tells us is it gives us a list of people that we need to be paying attention to in our organization that are most likely to be vulnerable to leave. And it's interesting now with AI, you can figure out like the likelihood that your client might be ready to buy or sell because of where they shop or the things they look for on Amazon, or like if somebody spends 10 days a month at Home Depot, they might be getting their house ready to list. So keep in touch with those people. So we got this list of 15 agents that we need to maybe reach out to because they might be not content. You know who number one on the list was? Lawton.
So we're gonna do the talk right here on the podcast.
Yeah, speaking of.
But the reason is, like, I did a little bit of research. I was like, well, that's not good. That's not going to help my feelings at all. Mandy's like, oh, he would never leave. And I'm like, wait a minute. We can't assume that, right? So I started looking, and the reason he's the target is because he did so good his first year, right? So companies are going to be reaching out to him because he's a valuable asset. They know that most people don't do what he did in a year. And so they're going to say, hey, we'd love to have that over here. And I think this is so fascinating, this whole conversation, for this one reason. Whether we want to admit it or not, and no matter how we try to do it otherwise, we do care most about what's good for us. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Like, I mean, say what you want. The guy, like Lawton, you said it very good. The guy is making a decision that he feels like is better for what he wants to accomplish, whatever that is. And I say this often in our classes, Ashley, if it's legal and ethical and you want to go do it, I'm on board. And I've said to people that have left our organization, if you really, Keith is one, if you really feel like you can live your version of the life that you want to live somewhere else, as hard as this is to do, then I'm gonna support you in that. And that's hard from the person that is being left, right? But that's what the crux of all of this is. And the AD's making the best decision for who? Himself and the organization.
Yeah.
He's protecting his organization by saying, I think it's best. And let's be honest. I mean, we probably would all make that choice. I don't think there's anybody that would say, yeah, you know what, Lane, you thought they were better, but we would love for you to stick around for 30 days and see if you can finish this off. I'll tell you what's going to happen, and it's already started to happen. They have permanently promoted one of the coaches that's staying to the head coach position. Not interim, not like, hey, take us to the next few games. They've said to this guy, you are our guy. And you know what's happening with the players? They are rallying around that guy. I saw the meeting, the team meeting where they introduced him in that role. I wouldn't be surprised if this is old Mrs. Motivator now to go into the playoffs. Guess who's not in the playoffs? LSU.
Sure.
Like Lane Kiffin's season is over. And you know when this looks really bad for Lane is if he doesn't win a national championship. How much pressure now is on him? And he's done this once before in the similar way. But I thought as a team leader, TJ, and as a company leader, and Ashley, you talk to people every day. Lawton, you are one. This loyalty thing is important. Like how do you weigh loyalty and loyalty to your team and loyalty to yourself? TJ, how do you talk to your team members about? How do I talk to Ashley about keep doing how great you're doing, Ashley? It's great for us. When the primary thing is what's best for Ashley, really. I need to be focused more on what's best for Ashley. And sometimes that is, we joke about it, Ashley, we're not firing you again, but we joke about it. Sometimes that's holding it with an open hand and saying, right, TJ, tell me how do you handle this with your team? Because when you get a team member that's really killing it, and TJ has a very successful team, how many, you got 6 team members now?
Myself and 4 others.
Okay. So you've got that team. How do you balance worrying that they're going to go to LSU or stay with you at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I mean, so I have 4 really great, really, really, really great individuals. And if I was at another company, I would look at those 4 and say those are 4 people I want, under my umbrella. What I try to do, and I hope I would like to think they would say this, is that, I want to be much like you are with the company here, you and Mandy, is that I want each of them at the end of the day to live the life they want to live while succeeding at work, and that's a tough balance sometimes, right? But as a parent, I didn't want to miss my children's things, and it's important to me that they don't miss their children's things, so I think sometimes if we know what's important to the people that we are leading and we support that to me is a big deal, because I truly feel that way. I mean, I'd love to see all of them, add a zero to whatever, but is it just money, or is it, I got to go see my son's 7-year-old Christmas play and I still had a really nice business as well. And so if you're the person that puts your head down and sacrifices all of that, then that's not what, I mean, I'll support that if you want me to. It's actually kind of hard for me to support that because I think that's crazy, but so I think if you're leading a team, I think you have to find out what's important to your crew and then support it to the fullest, and they do a good job of supporting me because it gets overwhelming at times. And I think they all know me well enough to, read me and read what's going on, on a daily basis as well, because I have a normal life like everybody else.
That's cool. Lawton, talk to me about how loyalty from your perspective as an agent. And again, ignore the father-son relationship for a minute. Like when you're at a place and you get calls, because I know you do, from other organizations, how do you filter those, and how do you make sense of it? Because I'm sure it's like Lane Kiffin got the call with the 7-year contract, $91 million. You're not getting that call, because if you did, father-son wouldn't matter, and I would encourage you not to let it matter. But if somebody makes a super good offer or it seems good, how do you handle that as an agent? Do you take the call? Do you not take the call? Do you talk? And be honest, like I know you will.
Well, just a little pointer if there are any recruiters listening. A good first step would be to learn how to pronounce people's first name right, because usually I'm hanging up if you say my name wrong anyway. But
his name is Layton. Layton.
Yeah.
Layton.
I think we've all talked about it. Like, I think your motivations are the big factor, and those determine what you do and whether it's a good decision or not, and how you're loyal, right? Because if you're worried about just money, you might not be as loyal, but that's a decision you make. But I think, in my case, I look at the success that I've had, but where that's come from is the place I am. A lot of it has to do with me and what I'm able to do, but at the same time, some of the opportunities wouldn't have been there if I'm somewhere that's cheaper, or I can make more money, but I don't have anyone helping me. So it also, money is one thing, but where you are and what you're given and helped with is also really important from an agent perspective of what I've been able to do. A huge part of that has to do with who's been around me, the conversations I've been able to hear, the brand that I have when no one knows who I am. So I think all those things are important as well.
That's good. Ashley, you want to add anything to that as a former agent and now in your role as leading agents in these conversations?
Yeah, I think if you're the person that's leading an organizational setup for people, then you need to pay attention to what value you're bringing on a consistent basis for people to keep choosing you, and really go in and evaluate and sometimes put yourself in their shoes. If life felt this way for me, what would I be tempted to do? And that way you can keep adding to whatever it is going to be an abundant life for those agents or those employees or those players, if we're talking about football still. I'm not sure that we are. But then the other thing I wanted to kind of mention is that sometimes it's good to pay attention to what different generations actually feel is showing appreciation. And I think that there are generations that want public accolades. There's generations that just want more money. There's generations that want more work-life balance. I read a book on this years and years ago when I was actually coaching youth sports, not coaching through real estate. And I can't remember which generation is which, but it was really eye-opening to just say, know the people that you want to keep attracting to stay with you and to keep choosing you. Because there's some people that would be really embarrassed if you gave them like a public recognition. But there's some people that feel invisible if you give them raise after raise after raise and you don't do any public acknowledgement. So you kind of have to know who your people are and how to keep attracting them to want to be with your organization, I think.
Yes, this is the hardest thing about what we do. Like, gosh, there's so many things to talk about with that, but that's why we're doing the Abelson assessment in small chunks, because it talks about motivators, and somebody who's motivated. Utilitarian motivation is money. That is, and I agree with the generational thing, but I also agree that it's a little bit more than that, or think it's a little bit more than that. It comes to the individual, because if you just did generational, you're going to hit most of the targets. If you do it individual by individual, you're going to hit them all. And I think that's what each person deserves, but that's really hard to do. Like, and is an organization supposed to decide what kind of person they want to attract? Or do you attract them all and then try to meet them all? Like, try to meet them all where they are. That's really hard. Even when it's only 10 people, like even with TJ's team, I bet on the 4 people on his team, he might have done a good job hiring, and he might have gotten people that are alike. But are their motivators exactly the same? Even with 4 people.
Yeah.
And so when one of them calls you, you'd be better off if you knew, like, I don't even know this about Lawton like I should. Like, if you knew what motivates that person that's calling you and how you can speak to that, that's a huge thing. You agree?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that, we've talked about an outlier of an example with Lane Kiffin, but in our world, Ashley, this is something that I think about all the time is, are we hitting the mark? I'll give a good example. I love Rich Lilly. He's one of my favorite people. He's an agent with our organization. I don't know if he's listening to this. He would never admit it. He would never show his face. Like, I haven't seen the guy in 4 years, but he's an advocate. Like, he loves us, and he's our biggest cheerleader. And you know what Mandy does? Like, right now on her desk, there's some candy canes for Rich in a box. She just, every year on her calendar, she just gets Rich candy canes because he loves candy canes. And that is so ridiculously simple, but so ridiculously easy to miss. And it means the world to that guy. That's why some people with handwritten notes, they put them on their wall. And some people with handwritten notes, they just put them in the trash. There's not the same. Trophies, some of them go in a box. Some of them are posted on social media over and over and over, right? So we're talking about motivators, and I don't know if Sue or Keith or any of you have anything to say about any of that, but changing a little bit of speed. I wanted to wrap up the conversation today with one other thing. Y'all want to add anything else about Lane Kiffin's terrible decision? I'm just kidding. Lane Kiffin. I'm excited to watch what happens. I think my prediction is, and somebody said it this morning, and I'll go on record to say this, he'll eventually get fired from LSU. You know why? Because every coach in college football gets fired from their previous job unless they quit. And he ain't going to quit because he's going to try to win the national championship. Nick Saban's the only coach ever to coach at LSU that didn't get fired in the history of their program, and that's because when he won the national championship, he left. He went on to Alabama. But anyway, I wanted to – Ashley, you did something pretty fascinating yesterday, and I know you're going to go do it again in 5 minutes with the New Agent Network. And you had Ryan Koros, one of our team leaders, come and tell his story. And you guys, if you haven't seen that on social media, you should take a look at it. It's really fascinating where Ryan came from. We all have our stories. His is made for TV, kind of. It's a really cool story. But what I loved yesterday in listening to Ryan, you shared that story and then let Ryan come on and talk. 2 things that really, really resonated with me, and I wanted to share this while you're on the call. He said there's 3 ways to get business in real estate. Only 3 ways. You can ask for it. You can buy it, or you can wait for it. I'm getting somebody's talking in the background of somebody's room. Is that in your? somebody mute for a second. Ashley, if you want to talk, I want you to hop back on and turn it on, but I can hear whoever is loud and
I'm across from Terry at We Insure, and she's, doing some important. Yep.
Selling some insurance. I love it.
Yep.
So 3 ways to get it. You either ask for it, you buy it, or you wait for it. And Ryan said, he said it like he said it 100 times. He goes, 95% of us are just going to wait. About 3% will buy it, try to buy it, and about 2% will actually ask for it. What do y'all think about that statement? Elaborate on that, any of you. I think it's pretty cool.
I completely agree. I just think that at the end of the day, the fear kicks in for all of us, and we are afraid to ask for the business and go get it for fear of rejection. I think that's a massive fear in all of us, just sort of inherently. And the second you get over that, your business changes. The second you get over it. Yeah. Like, it's an amazing thing that how afraid I was when I first started to call expireds, but I also didn't have any money. So I was like, well, I better get over this really fast. And it was amazing that people said, yes, yeah, I'll give you a shot. I had all these ridiculous stories in my head about why they wouldn't use me because I was only in business 6 months or, whatever case might be. And for a lot of years, I called expireds, and I think that's what Ryan's an amazing agent. He's obviously running a very successful team. I know he's done a lot of coaching and himself, and of course for his agents. And everything he says is spot on. Everything.
Yeah. Lawton, what do you think of that? How's that been for your first year? Ask for it, buy it, or wait for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree from what I've been able to see. I mean, I haven't been able to afford to buy it, so I'm kind of left with the other two. And I think we have, especially in our market, there's so many people that just wait for it, and that their business is built upon, the people that I know will reach out to me because they like me, but those people might not know that you sell houses. So, but I think the confidence, even just the confidence to ask, and it probably doesn't sound good the first time, but the confidence to be able to ask, just that comes across with some people. They're going to see that and say, oh, like, that's a different approach than most people take. Most people don't sit down at the table and ask for your business, but when someone does, you can see they have motivation behind it, and they usually have a plan behind it. So I'm definitely in the stages of getting better at that, but I've seen it be successful when I have done that. Yeah.
Actually, I thought it was interesting, like the turning point in his career, believe it or not, when Ryan, for year one in real estate, he sold 7 homes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an adult. Like, he wasn't 23. He had done some things. Like, he had a 10 or 12-year working career already. He sold 7 homes, and he said, you know what? I had 2 other jobs, and people weren't taking me seriously because I had a couple of other jobs. So I quit. And then he said he got life-changing advice from a mentor. And I thought this was very fascinating because it's tricky, but it's fascinating. He said, she challenged me to act like the expert, pick a niche. I like the way Ashley says it. I don't know how to say it like she does. Say it for me, Ashley.
Niche.
Pick a niche and then act like the expert in that area. Act like the expert. Some people will believe you, and eventually you'll believe it yourself. And I thought that is so deep. You could write a book on that, like the psychology of that, and so that's what he did. He literally picked up the phone and said, "Hey, this is Ryan Court." He picked a neighborhood. I could go into a lot of why he picked this building, which is fascinating. Before GPS, he picked this building and he started calling everybody in the building and saying, "Hey, Ryan Koros, I'm the Palace expert. I just wanted to know if you have any questions." He put a postcard out there before he even knew about anything about the building. I'm the Palace expert. Ryan Koros, Palace expert. You know what? People started believing it. The first few might not have. They might have been like, this guy's full of baloney, or who's this guy? Or they might have asked questions that he couldn't answer, but eventually he became that guy. That is exactly the opposite of how we see these brand new agents or any agent doing business these days. It's like, I got to know it all. Ryan didn't even know his way around town. He only picked Palace because he knew where the ocean was, and he ended up in front of it one day when he drove over there. I mean, that's very, very scientific. What do you think of that, Ashley? Did you enjoy hearing that yesterday when he talked about it?
Yeah, and I've heard that story before, and I share it over and over again. I think I told him yesterday he doesn't realize how many times I tell new to the industry agents that exact phrase. How do you become the expert? You tell everybody that you are. And so I just thought that he kept it simple. You know, he didn't overcomplicate to just kind of figure out his next step. So I just really appreciated him sharing his story. And the rejection piece of it, like TJ mentioned and Lawton mentioned, like being afraid that someone's going to say no. When you guys hang up from here, Google a TED Talk by the author for the book Rejection Proof.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the author's name, and I probably can't pronounce it either, so I'm just going to not try. So it's worth the 15-minute listen. He's a fantastic speaker. He really adds in a lot of comedy into his platform, but he tells a story of he was worried about people saying no. And so he challenged himself of 100 days of coming up with things that he was expecting to get a no. So he just asked ridiculous things. And at the end of the 100 days, he had all these revelations. So it's a fantastic book to read or to listen to on Audible, but to really just pique your interest, go listen to the TED Talk. It's such a great TED Talk.
Yeah, it's Rejection Proof by Jia Zhang. It's Jiajiang. And one of the challenges that he did was he went to someone's front door. I read this book. I love it. Went to someone's front door with a soccer ball under his arm, knocked on their door and said, "Do you mind if I go in your backyard and kick a soccer ball around?" Or he went to like Five Guys, ate his cheeseburger. You know how we go up and get a refill on our drink often? He went to the counter and said, "Can I get a refill on my cheeseburger?" I mean, those are the kind of things the guy asked. But that rejection is a big deal. Actually, we could do a whole episode on, like TJ and Lawton both said it. Ryan said it yesterday, and he's going to say it again today. When your need to succeed outweighs the fear of rejection, you start doing the thing. And Lawton needs to pay his bills. TJ got dreams he wants to accomplish. Back then, he needed to pay his bills when he first started doing calls. Ryan said it yesterday. I was living in a warehouse. I couldn't even rent a place. So the fear of rejection, I said, I'm scared to death, but I got to do it. I mean, it's because I got to pay the bills. So anyway, as you can tell, Ashley, go ahead.
I have to go start that session for today.
Yeah.
So while you guys wrap it up and talk about how great I am, I'm going to head over to the next room. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Ashley. We're going to wrap this up.
Thank
too.
you guys for including me in a football conversation. It's been fun.
Baseball next week. We'll talk to you soon.
Sweet.
So for those of you still remaining, as you can tell, guys, this show is 100% for me because I get so much out of it. I get so much out of this conversation, preparing for it, talking about it. Someone asked me the other day, how do you stay so positive? It's because of things just like this. If you surround yourself with people that are positive, that talk about positive things, this just makes you more positive. It's not rocket science. This hour has made me more motivated and more positive than I was before. And I hope it's done that for somebody on the call or somebody that has been on here. I really appreciate you two being here, and Ashley also humoring me with this conversation about Lane Kiffin. We only, by the way, wish him success. That just like we do everybody, we want everybody to live their form of their abundant life. That's my goal. That's my mission in life, help people build businesses to live that kind of life. So thank you, Lawton. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Rise Up Nation. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, all of you that were there. I think I saw Keith was on here, Trey White. Let me see. There were a lot of you on. Aaron Parker was on here, Victor, Amanda. There's a bunch of people. So thank you all for being here. And we will be on again next week, same time, 10 o'clock with Ed Pacino. Back to Ashley again and these two guys. Heidi's on here. There's Heidi. Good vibes only. I love that. But Rise Up Nation, thanks. This will be a podcast on Monday, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday on the live stream. Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Lawton.
Yeah.